Hey, what's going on guys, Chris here, bringing you another Overwatch guide today, and I'm going to be taking a good look at Torbjorn in this one, highlighting all of those abilities and how to maximise their effectiveness against the enemy team. Torbjorn is a defence character and is better suited for locking down areas and making open spaces more treacherous to advance through, helping to whittle down enemy health and prevent the other team from taking objectives quite so easily. Being able to plant down his own personal turret to essentially double his firepower gives the other team an extra obstacle to tackle, though this also means that Torbjorn's got to defend not just himself, but that turret too, and so a lot of the time, he can't exactly stray too far away from it. With a constant blend of multitasking from building turrets, shooting enemies and supplying extra armour, there can often be a few different factors to think about and prioritise whilst playing as Torbjorn. And for this reason, he's got a difficulty rating of 2 stars, as whilst he's got a variety of different uses, you're gonna have to take full advantage of them all, playing with a defensive mindset to be much help for your team. But as a bit of background info, Torbjorn is a top engineer and weapons designer, and one of the original members of Overwatch's main strike team. During the Omnic Crisis, the AI known as God programs weaponized machinery and titans designed by Torbjorn to work against humanity. Down to his knowledge of these weapons and machines, Torbjorn joined Overwatch and worked with them to overcome the Omnic threat. His inventions and designs continued to flow throughout Overwatch years after, as he remained to be an important member of the organisation. After Overwatch's collapse, many of his weapons and machines were either stolen or hidden away around the world. Torbjorn was determined to prevent them from getting into the wrong hands and went out to stop them from doing so. But anyway, there's quite a lot of abilities and weapons that Torbjorn has at his disposal, but the main weapon that you'll be wielding is the Rivet Gun. This can be fired in 2 ways, with the first being a single shot mode, better suited for longer ranges, and the other launches a spread of multiple projectiles, similar to a shotgun blast. As for the primary mode, it deals a fair amount of damage, with each shot dishing out 70 per hit, which can be cramped up to 140 with a headshot. These rivets are projectile based, not hit scan, and so you will need to lead targets running around in the distance, aiming slightly in front of their position when trying to hit them, and roughly 2 of these rivets can be fired per second. It's also worth pointing out that they arc slightly through the air, though they don't have any damage drop off, making them a more viable option to use at medium to long ranges. Down to the way the rivets fly through the air, it might take some practice judging where to aim on someone who's moving. Those strafing side to side can often help line up shots, and aiming slightly above targets at long distance will often make those rivets land on target, sometimes even netting you those headshots too. These travel mechanics also mean that they're much easier to land on slower, bigger heroes, along with stationary targets too, such as Bastion Sentry, other turrets, and even snipers that aren't moving very much. But other than using the Rivet Gun single shot mode, you can also eject a blast of molten metal from the weapon, which is much more effective against enemies at closer ranges. This fires off a shotgun style blast of 10 pellets, with each dealing a maximum of 15 damage each up close. Though this does drop off over range, as any pellet that travels past 20 meters will only deal 6 damage. Plus with the fact that the pellets spread out through the air, it's pretty much impossible to land many of them onto another player anyway at longer distances. Up close it can be extremely deadly though, and even has enough power to kill a tracer in one blast at point blank range. And the fact that it can still cause headshot damage can amp this up even further to kill a lot of other characters too, with a direct hit. These blasts take away 3 ammo at a time, and can't be fired quite as quickly as the primary mode. So it's best to decide whether that extra close range damage is going to be beneficial as opposed to using the single shot mode, if your target isn't really all that close by. It'd be easier to cause damage, and might be a better option to quickly finish someone off, who's low on health beyond close range, but it does fire slower and you won't be able to inflict as much damage if the other player is further away. But apart from that Rivet Gun, Torbjorn's other main damage dealing ability comes in the form of that turret. This automatically tracks and constantly guns down enemies within a 14 meter radius. It has 3 levels that can be upgraded too, which all alter its health and fire rate, but not damage output, which stays at 14 on PC and 9.8 on consoles at all times. A level 1 turret with 150 HP can be built straight away, but only fires 2 rounds per second. It's best upgrading this up to level 2 as quickly as you can, as this will both double the fire rate up to 4 rounds per second and the health up to 300, making it much more durable and damaging against other players. Level 3 can only be achieved with Torbjorn's ultimate ability, but I'll go over that in more detail a little bit later on in the video. The overall turret placement and the way it's used is often the most important part of Torbjorn's effectiveness as a character, as it can act like an extra player, and something else that the opposing team needs to worry about taking on when advancing to an objective. Although it can spin around in 360 degrees, it's best placing the turret down towards where you want it to be mainly aiming, to take on the other players, as this is where it will reset to when not locked on, reducing the time it will take to swivel to face targets before it starts to fire again. It's generally best to place one down to guard an objective, or to mow down players passing through a busy choke point, and depending on who you're up against, placing them out of clear line of sight and away from wide open areas can usually be a good option too, as snipers and other players such as Farah and McCree can hop in and out of cover to blast them away from afar if they're in an obvious spot. Putting them around corners and in unexpected places high up can sometimes catch enemies by surprise, though you'll need to be ready to repair it if it takes damage, and this can often be a good tactic in busy, congested areas with lots of battles between teammates and enemies, as the turret can gun down opponents, as the opposing team will often be more distracted by the other players to even notice that the turret's there. Sometimes it can be best to plant it down next to a piece of cover, so you can repair it safely whenever it gets damaged, as a lot of players are gonna try and kill you first before taking on that turret, as they know full and well that you'll just keep on topping its health back up otherwise. After a couple of kills and assists with the turret, it can often be best to start thinking about other places to plant one down, to trick the other team and catch them out, as they'll most likely concentrate their fire on it once they're aware of its position. Enemies will probably try and flank it, and might even switch characters to try and take it out, so building a new one in a new location will often catch them by surprise, much like a sniper switching positions on a map to keep their whereabouts a mystery. Though generally when fighting alongside the turret, it's usually best staying fairly close to it, as you can dash over to repair whenever it gets damaged. If you die before the turret does, it'll continue to fire at enemy players even whilst you're down, and you'll be able to see its current status by a separate health bar on the screen at the bottom left. It's also highlighted to you at all times through walls, and indicators will pop up displaying when it's shooting, and when it's being damaged. Use these indicators to not only assist the turret and defend it, but also give away an enemy's position and be prepared for someone advancing through that area. Other heroes such as Reinhardt and Winston can even protect it with barriers, as this will help it survive longer when you aren't around to protect it, and when it's in an open space overlooking a busy choke point. But anyway, to upgrade that turret, you're gonna have to use the Forge Hammer, which is a special tool that can be swapped over to from your Rivet Gun. After planting down a level 1 turret, you'll have to bash it with the hammer 5 times to upgrade it, taking roughly 5 seconds. It's best to be aware of your surroundings and try to judge whether it's safe or not to upgrade the turret, as you'll be really vulnerable if you start to whack away at it whilst a bunch of hostile players are shooting in your direction. The hammer is also used to repair the turret too, regenerating about 50 HP per hit after it's been damaged. And if used against an opponent nearby, it can also deal 75 damage. Although it can inflict damage onto enemies, it's only really good for doing this if your opponent is literally right next to you, and if you're currently repairing that turret. Otherwise, the Rivet Gun is going to be a much more viable option, as that secondary fire can cause more damage with a greater range than the hammer too. Now, another thing that Torbjorn can do is collect scrap from dead enemies. These appear next to a downed opponent and act a little bit like Reaper's soul pickups. Though instead of healing, they'll instead be collected and used to create armor for yourself and team. Each scrap pickup that you'll find will provide you with 25 scrap, and a total of 200 can be collected overall, so 8 scrap pickups at a time. The scrap will appear to Torbjorn only, and will pop up on any dead enemy on the battlefield, whether they were killed by yourself, someone else, or by themselves. You don't need to run right over them to pick them up, as they'll automatically float towards you within 10 meters. But you should only go for them if you're not putting yourself in direct danger, as running out into the open to grab one might make you easy pickings for a sniper. But once you've collected enough scrap, you can then start to conjure up some armor packs. So armor packs only require 50 scrap to be made, and can be thrown out onto the battlefield for allies to pick up, supplying 75 armor with each pack. You can also pick up these packs too, which can be a good idea to keep yourself in the fight for longer, though it's best not to forget about your teammates. Armor is stronger than normal health and shields, and can be a great benefit to offensive heroes that are going to be rushing up and attacking enemies head on. Sometimes it's best to prioritise which characters to give armor packs to, as heroes like Tracer and Reaper are probably going to need it a little bit more than someone like Roadhog, who already has tons of health and the ability to top it up himself. It's usually best giving armor to weaker characters first, along with the support characters like Lucio, as they'll be the more important heroes to keep alive that'll probably be targeted by the enemy first. Otherwise, keep on throwing armor packs out along general routes of travel if your scrap supply is full, as they can be used to help out all of your teammates, and there's really no point of them going to waste if you have plenty to give away. Anyway, it's time to go over that ultimate ability, Molten Core, and this one basically buffs both yourself and turret for 12 seconds. Activating Molten Core will instantly and automatically upgrade a level 2 turret to level 3, boosting its HP up to 800, increasing its fire rate to 5 rounds per second, and also allows it to fire rockets as well. So generally it transforms into a complete beast. This increased firepower and health boost can quickly turn even the most vulnerable turret into an absolute killing machine, though it'll only upgrade a level 1 turret to level 2, so it's highly advised to use Molten Core on level 2 turrets if you want to maximise the destruction. Other than affecting the turret, it'll also give you a bonus 300 armour, plus your Rivet Gun's fire rate and Forge Hammer strikes will increase by 50%, meaning that you can deal damage quicker with that gun, and also repair and upgrade your turret faster whilst using the ultimate. So don't be afraid to rush opponents and get up close to them to deal the damage, as that extra armour should have you covered most of the time. It's best using Molten Core when things are getting a bit hectic, and there's multiple opponents that are becoming a big threat to you and your turret. The added armour and power will allow you to take them all on, and also act as a lifesaver, to get you and the turret out of some dangerous fights in one piece. It can often be best kept for when you're being ambushed, or for when some enemies have flanked your position and are dealing some heavy damage. If you activate the ability with no turret around, depending on the situation, it might be best to quickly plant a turret down, overlooking a hectic battle or objective point, and start bashing it with the hammer to bump it up to level 3 as fast as you can. The hammer speed will be quicker, so it won't take quite as long as normal, and it'll automatically reach level 3 instead of level 2 whilst the ultimate is active. This can sometimes help your team out a lot, especially on contested objective points. And although you won't be able to take much advantage over that Rivet Gun's increased fire rate, the turret should temporarily create a big problem for the other team to either take on or retreat from. So there's quite a lot to keep in mind whilst playing as Torbjorn, as you're going to have to get creative and think smart when choosing where to place that turret, to be much use for your team. Having a lot of map knowledge is going to be a huge benefit, along with being able to switch roles on the fly to both attack oncoming targets, defend that turret and supply armour for your team. He's mainly effective on defense game mode and can be much harder to do well with when attacking, as your main focus is to guard choke points and objectives, which is what Torbjorn generally is better at doing. You'll have to be strategic, and when used correctly, it can be a huge pain in the arse to deal with, often making objectives much harder for enemies to take control over. Anyway guys, that's all for this one. If you enjoyed the guide, give me a like and that'd be much appreciated, and stay tuned for more Overwatch guides and loads of other stuff on my channel. Take it easy, and I'll see you in that next one.